working? Is this happening? Okay. Whoops, give this a second. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello. I know it's been a minute. If you have ever been on one of my very rare lives before, you know I am not, a lot of people are here now, incredibly tech savvy, so please bear with me. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'll give everyone a minute to get here before we jump into what we're going to be doing today and talking about today. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. I hope you are all doing well and staying healthy and safe and taking care of yourselves. We are very lucky to be joined by a very cool guest today who is kind enough to have agreed to join us and educate us a little bit on something incredibly important that I would like us all to get involved in and take action for. So I'll just wait for Max to get here. If you are here, Max, I'm gonna check these requests here and see what's happening. Sorry, gang. Please bear with me. I will just wait for him to get here. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing good. I know it's been a while. Hello, welcome. Okay, let's see. Max, if you're here, if you could just send a quick request to join. And then okay. Not sure. There we go.
Hey, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening there.
No, thank you so much, everyone. This is Max. Max, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing? How's your day going?
I'm good. How are you? How's yours going?
I'm all right. I'm excited. It's really nice to be talking with you. And I'm glad that we could schedule this live and make this happen. So, okay, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about Max's incredible organization called Students Against Child Marriage. So let's just jump right in. Can I ask you some questions and we can just get into this?
Yeah, let's get started.
Sounds great. So first off, what exactly is Students Against Child Marriage?
Yeah, so Students Against Child Marriage is the nation's only 501c3 nonprofit that's fighting the American child marriage crisis through student activism. It's a bit of a weird sounding organization for an unknown issue, but it's actually a huge problem here in the United States, and we're joined by a whole bunch of other incredible activist organizations that are leading this fight.
Sounds great. I was just going to say, like, for people that don't know, I mean, because I feel like when I started to, like, look into you guys and learn more, I mean, how much of a problem is child marriage still today in this country? Because it seems like it would be something that's so outdated.
Yeah, it's actually a huge problem. So child marriage is a gigantic crisis in the United States right here in 2021. Most people think that this is an issue that only impacts countries of the global South, you know, an othering, if you will, of other nations, other peoples, other religions, and that it's not something that could be happening here in America. And if it was something that's happening in America, it's something that would have been happening 100, 200 years ago. Right. In reality, every year, tens of thousands of young girls and sometimes young boys are forced into these coercive, abusive marriages where families, parents, communities force their kids into these marriages. And what happens is it's this huge problem where young girls lose their agency. They are trapped within these marriages that are entirely legal in 46 states.
So how did you come about forming this organization?
Yeah, so Students Against Child Marriage's history goes back about 3 years, which is when I first learned about this issue. I read about it in a New York Times article that I was sent by my dad, and I was really struck by what I was reading. And I figured that this was impossible, that it had to be kind of a freak occurrence, and that it was in no way something that could be regularly happening in the United States. And that's what I wanted to believe for a while, but I learned about this just as I was going into my first year of college, and that gave me this environment to research it more. And the more I looked into it, the more I learned about how problematic it was. And really, it was a bit of a two-edged sword. You know, on the one side, the more I learned, the more I learned, the more I researched, the more I learned about how problematic this is, that it impacts tens of thousands of girls a year, that based on the United States Census Bureau's American Community Survey, there are over 206 children who are married every single day right here in America, that it's an issue that doesn't discriminate, that generally speaking, being of one race or ethnicity, one religion, or even from a certain part of the country, it's no protection from child marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I learned about how bad this is, on the other side of that sword, I was learning how much difficulty advocates were having when it came to passing reform.
Right.
Now, as I mentioned, 46 states still completely allow for this practice in slightly differing forms. Those other 4 states have bravely, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Minnesota have bravely and courageously gotten rid of this practice, but the other 46 still allow it. Now, other advocates, such as the Talk Justice Center, have made really great progress in getting about 25 states over the past several years to pass some reforms, but advocates have generally struggled to go all the way. And so I really noticed in this that students weren't involved in the advocacy space really whatsoever. And as a youth advocate, as someone who really sees the world and what young people can do when they put their heart to a cause and really work to end it, I saw that young people, students, and the youth, and everyone that we know really could have the potential for getting this type of legislation over the line, for getting these bills passed, getting them signed into law, and at the end of the day, saving lives. So I got a couple friends involved. As my best friends became our founding members. We launched over the summer, and since then we've rapidly grown.
That sounds great. It's really incredible, and it's really I think everyone feels so lucky when they find that organizations like this already exist and somebody already stepped up and took that first step in forming something to take action and get involved. So you guys at Students Against Child Marriage, it prides itself on, being about and by young people and students. So how many students and young people do you actually, because you've grown so much, even recently. So how many actual students and young people do you really have working your operations behind the scenes?
Yeah, it is a huge, huge team. So like I said, this started when my best friends Ames and Maggie came on as our founding members. And since then, we've grown to a national staff of dedicated part-time student employees of around 40 or so. And then additionally, we operate 35 and counting. We're adding to it by the day chapters around the United States, and we're actually even expanding into some other countries. So all in all, there are over 450 members of Students Against Child Marriage.
That's amazing. That's really incredible. Cause I was actually just going to say that's the perfect transition. Is it just really quick? It just in sort of a synopsis version. Sure. How exactly you guys operate? Because I know you have a sort of a board that sort of overlooks your bigger decisions, but in terms of getting legislation passed in individual states, how do you really reach those individual groups of students? And states and counties and things like that?
Yeah, so it really comes down to this activism model that I thought up based on what I had seen in a lot of other organizations, in a lot of other advocacy spaces. And it's really our chapter member model. And the idea behind it is that we're running a dual advocacy and awareness campaign. Because at the end of the day, child marriage in the United States exists simply because people know it exists. And especially because lawmakers don't think that their constituents know about it or care about it. Right. Now, that's what we're working to change. We're working to change that by raising unprecedented awareness about this issue. Right now, there are thousands of people watching this, thousands of people paying attention for really the first time in a while to learn about this issue and to take a stand. And so what we then do with that is not just have people learn about this, but sit idly by and not take action, but instead really, work to fight this. And the way we do that is by launching chapters around the United States. And what this allows us to do is have students on the ground in communities across the country pushing their legislators to act. That might be just signing a petition directed at them, maybe sending them an email or giving them a phone call, but that's what moves minds. Hawaii is a really good example of that, actually. Hawaii is a state where they have a very tight legislative cycle. Legislation was introduced. If it didn't end up on heard by the committee and out of that committee within probably by around next week, then it wouldn't have passed whatsoever. And so advocates, including a lot of Students Against Child Marriage supporters, flooded the committee chair with emails and phone calls imploring him to put this legislation on committee. And so later today, in just about 2 hours, I'm actually testifying along with some other advocates in the state as a result directly of students and young people and other advocates pushing for this. And that legislation is now looking poised to eventually be up for a vote. So yeah,
Incredible.
it works really well.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
incredible. No, it really, really is so impressive. Okay, so what campaigns are you running right now? I know you have like one or two big strategies going at the moment, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have some really, really incredibly exciting stuff in the works. We, for a long time, have been pushing our 10-state strategic plan. That's where we are targeting a number of states that we really see are ripe for change. They range from states where we're really leading the effort, in states that either have only seen previous advocates enter the states for a little bit and then leave, or haven't been tapped at all. Those include states like Rhode Island, South Carolina, Oregon, and others. In addition to some states where we're really taking the backseat. We're letting incredible existing organizations like Unchained at Last, like UNICEF, Zonta, Global Hope 365, the Resiliency Foundation, to name a few, these incredible advocates and survivor-led organizations take the lead, and we just provide student, youth, and grassroots support. So that's states like Massachusetts, New York, California, where we're doing whatever we can to help them.
Gotcha.
And so in those states, one of the things that we're doing is convening state coalitions to end child marriage. So with that other organization I mentioned, Unchained at Last, we're co-convening the DC Coalition, the Hawaii Coalition. What that's allowing us to do is bring a host of organizations and individuals who are stakeholders in those states to join a coalition, to take a stand, and to fight for lawmakers in the states to get involved. So if anyone's watching right now and is from the states that we're working in and feels like they would like to be a part of that, they should absolutely reach out. But I know we also want to talk about the national campaign that we just launched about 2 weeks ago. So Biden and Harris just took office, and we thought that it was absolutely a ripe time to call on them to act to end this federally. Now, in that time, we've circulated a petition that's received over 6,000 signatures in just 2 weeks, calling on the newly minted Biden-Harris administration to act. We've seen thousands and thousands of supporters send over, by my latest count, 35,000 emails to lawmakers across the country, both in state houses, in the federal government, to governors, to attorney generals, to the president and to the vice president, calling on them to act. So we're really seeing some promising change, and things are looking really great. And it's so incredible that you're taking the time to speak with us and to give us this unbelievable platform where we can additionally get other people to act as well.
Of course. No, I'm so grateful to have you guys here. That's so incredible. It's really smart that you have sort of two campaigns going at once, one focusing more locally in states and then others a bigger federal level. It's really incredible. And you guys, I'm going to get into how you guys can get involved and how we can do all that in just a second. But just, so why do you think it's important that young people and that students themselves sort of lead this fight to end child marriage?
Yeah, so in a sense, it's very much us fighting for our own. You know, as young people, as students, one of the first things that go for child marriage survivors who are really at the center of everything we do is education. And that's what really fundamentally and literally unites students. You know, when child marriage survivors are forced into these marriages, they have to sacrifice their education, their childhood. And that's something that all young people, including me, including you, including, you know, many of the people on this call can get behind. And so that's really been this uniting factor that's fueled a rallying cry by the nation's youth, the nation's young people, and a lot of older allies and other organizations who want to support the youth because they recognize the importance of this. They recognize the importance of protecting childhood, of protecting agency, of protecting young girls and young boys and everyone who's affected by this. And so that, in addition to the fact that students just tend to be really incredible social justice advocates, you tend to be really incredible activists for social change and organizers, we've been able to coalesce this tremendous movement centered on students, centered on elevating survivor voices to put an end to this. And, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we stand on the shoulders of the unbelievable organizations and child marriage survivors who have raised this issue to the point at which the New York Times was able to cover it in the first place, because had it not been for that article, Students Against Child Marriage wouldn't have been formed. And so we owe this tremendous debt of gratitude to all these other organizations and continue to work with them and partner with them to this day. But it's incredible that we now have so many thousands and thousands of young people getting involved as well to make this issue a household name and make sure that we can be the generation to end this abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because it's not an issue that like from any angle could be controversial. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Oh,
so
100%.
it's just literally that it's just so unknown is like correct me if I'm wrong, I think is like the biggest obstacle in like getting real movement. So and I think like if someone in our society right now has the ability to like spread the word, it's
Yeah.
definitely students, it's definitely young people, you know, connecting in ways like this. So that's really incredible. Finally, for everyone watching, how can people get involved and join the fight and get involved with the organization? How might we go about doing that?
Yeah, so something we pride ourselves in is that we try to make it as easy as humanly possible to get involved, and that there are so many ways to get involved. Now, I mentioned that we have members, I mentioned that we have chapters, but the thing with child marriage is that it's such a small advocacy area. It's something that's so relatively unknown that, 95+% of my organization had no idea about this issue until we told them about it. And because of that, because it's so small, because lawmakers hear so little about it, sending a single email, making a single phone call, just sharing a post or following our account, it actually goes really far. I've been very active in a host of other advocacy spaces, ranging from, gun safety to Black Lives Matter and beyond. And it's really easy to feel sometimes in these large spaces, which are just as important, that you're yelling into a large crowd and nobody can hear you.
Right.
There is no crowd in the child marriage space. There's nobody aware of this. And as a result, just signing a petition, just sending an email, just giving us a follow, just becoming a member or starting a chapter, it goes so tremendously far. And really, you can know that, wow, I'm having an impact. And that's something we've seen since launching our national campaign. Like I mentioned, over 3,500 lawmakers have received 35,000 emails across the country in this 2 weeks. And so many, we've, left and right been getting emails and Insta DMs from our supporters saying, hey, look at this response I got from my senator. Look at this personalized message that the governor wrote me. Of lawmakers who either knew about this or didn't know about this, who are committing to fighting for this. Legislation has been introduced since that campaign in North Carolina and other states, and that's not obviously all because of our work. That a lot of it goes to Donna Pollard, a child marriage survivor we work with, and others, but students are really important in this. So anybody watching right now, they should give our account a follow to learn more about this issue. They should click the link in our bio to sign our petition, and it instantly routes them to a form where in 10 seconds or less, they can instantly email all of their lawmakers at the state, the federal level, and beyond. And if they're interested, they should absolutely indicate that they either want to join our national team or start a chapter. It couldn't be easier, and it goes so far.
Yeah, and friends, it is so well organized. Follow Students Against Child Marriage. Once you're on their page, click the link in their bio. You have all these different links to send emails, to sign petitions, to donate, to tweet at the Biden-Harris administration, but also to go straight to their website where it's really any question you have, all the information you're wondering is there. It'll tell you about your state, the child marriage laws in your state. It'll tell you about how to take action, tell you about the different chapters, how to go about starting a chapter, and also really incredible to hear firsthand stories from survivors that are being so generous with their stories and their perspectives. So definitely click the link in the bio. I'm tagged all over my Instagram. You can just click from this live. Just go to Students Against Child Marriage. It really is so simple and quick and easy to get involved, so well organized. You don't even have to write out the emails yourself. Literally already there for you. Just put in your zip code and you're set. And I don't think anyone can argue that this is just 100% a movement that we can all get behind. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, first, I just want to thank you so much, Cree. It's absolutely incredible and so inspiring, the leadership that you've taken in supporting us. And I can't, speaking on behalf of our entire organization, it really means the world. Because for so long, we, both as an organization, but also as an entire advocacy movement, speaking on behalf of some other orgs, have had difficulty gaining traction about this issue of spreading awareness and making this a household name. And, there are thousands of people watching this who've tuned in today to, even if for just 30 seconds, to learn about this issue and realize that, whoa, child marriage is happening in my backyard, whether it's in Massachusetts or Kentucky and New York, California, or beyond. And if we pride ourselves in anything, it's making it easy to get involved. So like you said, everyone should just really quickly sign a petition, follow our page, email their lawmakers. All of the forms are all pre-filled. It just takes 10 seconds and it goes so far.
Absolutely. Everyone, take all those steps, follow, visit their page, click the links, read up. I know sometimes as a young person, as a student, a former student now, when you want to get involved in organizations and movements, it can sometimes feel like as a young person or as a student specifically, you kind of can't really get involved or roll up your sleeves in the way that you want to, but this is not that situation at all. You can join a chapter, start a chapter. So thank you so much, Max, for joining us and for teaching us, for giving us all this education. It really is brilliant. You are so inspiring and amazing. Your organization is brilliant, and I really look forward to keeping this relationship alive and to rolling up our sleeves and getting into this and get movement and taking action. And friends, I hope you will join me.
Yeah, absolutely, Cree. I can't thank you enough. I'm so sorry, so excited that this is just the start of a really longer conversation for not just the two of us, but for everybody. This is, as Blair, a member of our board, said, this is a movement, not a moment. We have to keep this momentum going. It's the only way we're going to end this abuse.
100%. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. For everyone who that's been since the beginning, thank you so much for sticking around. And it's a really interactive page that Students Against Child Marriage is running. So if you have questions and things like that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a really interactive page that is open to answering questions and things like that. So make sure to give them a follow, and let's do this. Let's take action, friends. Okay, everyone have a good day, and thank you so much, Max, again.
Thanks so much, Cree. Take care.
Bye.